Hello, Mr. Hunter. I have only been here for a short while, but I would like to say thank you for giving me the lovely nickname Katerina and for making me feel so comfortable at ICT. Wishing you all the best.
Meneer, voor die tijd wat ik nog zo lang hier werk, heeft Mr. Hunter altijd voor zijn beklemstatie. Ik heb geweten om de stapwerk toen van Wijnberg af. Dan travel ik met de trein, Clemens Station, en dan klim ik af en dan wacht ik op Mr. Hunter. Dat was ik, Cizi, Michel en Alicia in Tempese en Aubrey. En dan krijg je soms dan zijn kar dik gepakt, dan komen ze op werk. Dus soms krijg je voor Aubrey en voor Madiba. Nee? En dan gaat me staan all the way via statie toe om voor hulle op te gaan tellen. Dus herinner ik daar, had hij me staan voor ons op. En daar voel ik bij waardeer het bij je. Want ik denk, je baas al iets zo way gegaan het voor ons, meneer. En dat is mijn special moment wat ik kan onthouden, meneer.
Mr. Hunter, you have been a beacon of hope for me and my family. You have been very supportive throughout my time at the school. It sounds exaggerated that my wife appreciated you more than I did at one point, and I became jealous of that. But this, however, gives an indication that your influence transcends social and human boundaries we shared as workmates. You sympathized, you empathized, you listened more than you were prepared to talk. You helped more than you needed assistance. You reprimanded in a stern, yet loving and redemptive way. You wore so many hats, and that needed a lot of courage and conviction on your part. You held the school together in difficult times and made hard but correct decisions that ensured and guaranteed the well-being of the school. The effects of the 2020 bonus fiasco left an unfortunate indelible mark on our financial well-being that year. But with the benefit of hindsight, we have come to the realization that some unpopular decisions are indeed correct and have to be made. Mr. Hunter, you live with our best wishes. Wherever your destination takes you to, we will remain grateful for the colossal contributions you have made to the school and to our professional lives at large. You have touched a lot of lives in many ways that you may not even start to imagine. We are lucky to have you as our workmate. Thank you, Mr. Hunter, for all you have done, all you do, and all you will do. Thank you.
The incident in the back playground. So I was sitting in the staff room just marking some books, and then suddenly David ran through the staff room out towards the back playground. I thought, that's interesting. I've seen David run before. And then Rick followed him. I thought, well, this looks interesting. I think I'll follow. So I left my books. It was only marking. And then I dashed out through the doorways, out into the back playground, along past the Year 3 classrooms. And then I saw David standing in the middle of the playground with another guy there. And then Rick was kind of hovering back just by the Year 3 classrooms. So I had a look. And I could see the guy there, and I couldn't see what he was doing, but David was talking to him. And then Rick said, I'm going to dash inside and I'm going to get on the phone quick. So he ran off. So I went out to the playground, and as I got down the little steps by the toilets, I realised the guy with David had a gun, and he was pointing it at David. I thought, oh no, this isn't a good situation. And as I thought, oh, I better walk towards David, I can't run away. So I walked towards David, so there's at least if somebody else were there. And the guy was saying, I'm going to shoot you. And David was saying, it's okay, that's fine, but you're not going to hurt the kids. What I'd like to do is go back over the fence, just go back the way you came. And the guy said, I'm going to shoot you. And David said again, it's okay, that's fine, but you're not going to hurt the kids. I want you to leave. I want to go back over the way you came, back over the fence, back out into the road. And the guy stood there for a little while. We all looked at each other. It was a bit like kind of a Western kind of standoff. And then eventually the guy backed down, lowered his gun, and trotted off round the back of the Year 4 cabins and disappeared around there. And David said we need to make sure he's definitely left and gone over the fence. So we kind of carefully peered around, looked around the Year 4 cabins, and he was climbing over the fence, and off he went down the street. and he was gone.
David, you found me as a profoundly bewildered expat, having just got away back from Mexico, and I slotted into a school that just felt like home, and that was because of the way that you led the school. And I was here for 6 months, and it just felt like the most perfect and beautiful thing. And then we were in a mission to plot, to trick people, or to trip them up, or to keep them locked up in caves so that we could hide away, that I could be permanently on staff. And that didn't happen because people don't leave the school, because it is such an extraordinarily happy place. And that is, again, as a result of your really, really special leadership. And so it took 5 years for me to be able to find my way back to you, which I eventually did. And the joy of being in a space where I know that I am backed by you no matter what. The joy of being in a space that I can arrive to school and you will grin at me and go, "Miss L, how the hell are you?" You know what, Mr. Hunter? I am awesome. And awesome because I have had the joy of being led by you. Now it's your chance to go and have a bit of a rest and take a deep breath and recognize that these years of service, because it really has been beautiful service that you have offered to us at ISCT, have been so incredibly valued. Take the time to smell the roses and cycle your bike and do interesting things with guinea fowl when you find them. But I just hope that this has been a space where you know how much you are loved, and that you will continue to know that that joy and love and legacy is really so important. So this is me saying thank you so much for an amazing opportunity.
I will not forget how fond of French people Mr. Hunter is. I actually believe that he may have been a French person in one of his other lives. First, he has a blunt personality, as blunt as most of my compatriots, myself included. He also has a deep appreciation for cheese and an endless passion for wine. Both were actually the center of most of our conversations in the staff room, although he often came back to the wine. Because of his Frenchness, Mr. Hunter has really helped me to feel at home at ICT. And David, don't you worry, you've left a few adepts and the cult of cheese and wine will go on. Leon! Shush! Cheers.
Mr. Hunter, what can I say? Our journey, I think, started maybe with the first conversation we had straight after the interview, which was a Friday afternoon. And you phoned me at my previous school, and I thought it was my husband because it came up as an unlisted number. And as I picked the phone up, I said, "What?" Because that was a running joke that he and I had at the time. And there was this man on the other end of the line that went, "Hello, may I speak to Mrs. Daniel, please?" And at that point, I just wanted the floor to open up and it to swallow me, quite frankly. But you still employed me, and I'm still here. Oh gosh, 18 years later. So good choice, Mr. Hunter, can I just say. As you can imagine, after 18 or so years of working with you, I have many, many, many stories to tell. And all of them equally as hysterical as the other. But I have to say that the three funniest that I can remember are all happened during interviews. And so the first story, I think you know, and you love telling to people, it's about the body chocolate. So we're sitting in an interview, and this person is slowly dying. And we are trying to help this person not die as much in the interview. And so you happen to ask, we asked the question, so what do you think is, what is your strength? And this person didn't really know how to answer that question. So we all stepped in and we all jumped in with some ideas. And you kind of said to the person, "And yes, body chocolate. You like chocolate, don't you?" At which point Rick and I looked at one another going, "Oh dear, how do we save this?" And the person in the story couldn't leave the interview fast enough because you kept digging the hole. You kept continuing with this whole concept of body chocolate and what one does with it. And it was like, just stop now, Mr. Hunter, please. But anyway, we all survived that tale. Then the second interview question we have, this happened to be online, and we were interviewing a gentleman in the UK, and you asked him, so what was your day like? And for some reason, he felt the need to be honest and tell us exactly how his day had gone, which we were quite surprised by. And your response was, well, yes, you know, some days you're the pigeon and some days you're the statue. I guess today you were the statue. Once again, we had to turn the TV or the monitor around so that he couldn't see the rest of us all lying on the floor, kind of laughing at this poor man. And yes, the interview didn't get any better. And then the third time, this also happened in an interview, and the interview was going swimmingly well, and we actually ended up appointing this person for a maternity post. It was Amy Cornish, and we're in the middle of it. We interviewing her. She's in Sweden, so she's online, and it's myself, and I think Sarah was there, and it was you, and there was one other person, and as we asked the question, your office door flies open, and a very irate past staff member rushes into the room, and she's got her contract in her hand, which she rips up into little pieces and throws it at us. So all this confetti rains down, and somewhat inappropriate language being used at the time. Poor Amy is on this monitor thinking, what on earth is going on in this office? I remember standing up going, okay, what do we do? And only to see a very hulking Mr. Moore walk down the passage and escort this lovely lady out. So to say that our interview sessions are uneventful, well, we would be lying. So it's been an absolute pleasure to teach with you and to interview with you, Mr. Hunter, and all the best for your retirement.
Yeah, so I remember this occasion when we had an interview, where we were interviewing a teacher for a senior position at the school. And fortunately, it was an internal application, and the person knew David very well and knew us very well. And during the interview, we were suddenly aroused when we heard this teacher saying, "Mr. Hunter, you are sleeping." And obviously, we all know David to be exactly that way, always very alert in our meetings and have the ability to just catch 40 winks halfway through. So that's the fun part, that's the humorous part. On the other level, when I think about David, I think about a hands-on man. I think about a man who is not scared to get his hands dirty. He will take on any project. He will tackle anything at the school. If it's a job that needs to be done, whether it is painting, whether it is building something, he will do it because he believes as a leader, he sets the example. So that is how we will remember him, and it is a good way to remember him. So wish him well.
Mr. Hunter, I hope you will enjoy your retirement at home. It was nice to work with you. I always learn some other things from you. Even I did keep it in my mind when you said you measure twice, you cut once. This was the lesson I did taught from you, because every time we normally work with wood, so it helps us a lot. In Xhosa, we normally said when somebody is growing up, he's learning until he go to death. So in Xhosa, when we said in Xhosa, we said umuntu ufunda ade ayokufa. So those words always keep me well, and those words always give me strength when I'm coming to work, because I know that as we do something wrong, you're gonna come with your red pen, you mark it red, especially when it comes to paint. I know that you don't like Babala's paint. When somebody makes something stew while he's painting, you always call it the Babala's paint, because it's somebody who's having a Babala's who can paint like this. So all those things we did learn from you, that as you work, You must make it so where you work, you clean. Because you said you can't make a mess where you're sitting every time because you're gonna need that shade. You make a mess when it's hot. Thank you.
So I was thinking about some of my memories of David Hunter, and I thought, well, there are a few things that I'll never forget about him. I'll never forget, for the first time in my life, being called Buttercup on a regular occasion. The other thing is, I will never forget his absolute hatred of meetings, and if we went any longer than what he thought was necessary, he'd start falling asleep. So it was always a challenge to keep him awake. The other thing I will always remember is a recent discovery that he drives rather interestingly, and it reminds me of the way my dad drove. So that was fun. And then his love of alliteration, the marvelous Mondays and wonderful weeks and fabulous Fridays, and I don't know what other things he had up his sleeve, but those were definitely regular occurrences in our meetings. But I think the thing I will remember the most about David is his humanness and his absolute approachability, his colorful language, some of the inappropriate jokes that would leave me blushing, but his honesty and his integrity and his wisdom. And I really, really have appreciated that, and I will miss it. And I'm sure that he will be, or you will be, hearing from me in the future. And it's just been an absolute pleasure working with you, David. You will be missed.